Good morning, everybody. Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living. You just heard Bienvenido, Yangco playing Oh Happy We. Wasn't that a happy song? I love that. And it's from Candide by Leonard Bernstein, arranged by D. Elliott. So that was wonderful. Made me happy. So this month we're starting a new series on nature. So be tuned in to Mother Nature all the month of August. So I want to introduce everybody who's here. Terry O'Hara on piano, and our guest musician today is Christina Brewer. And Rev.Matthew is doing a reading, and on platform with me is our lead practitioner, Mona Williams, and holding consciousness today is Mario Lorenz. So we're going to start with a meditation and opening prayer, and that'll be followed by a song by Christina called Heaven Here on Earth.
Good morning. So my meditation today, I'm going to use a stanza from What We Believe from Ernest Holmes. We believe in God, the living Spirit Almighty, one indestructible, absolute, and self-existent cause. This one manifests itself in and through all creation, but it's not absorbed by its creation. The manifest universe is the body of God. It is the logical and necessary outcome of the infinite self-knowingness of God. And our mantra today is, I use the power and presence of God. The power and presence of God is mine to use. The power and presence of God is mine to use. The power and presence of God is mine to use. The power and presence of God is mine to use. The power and presence of God is mine to use. The power and presence of God is mine to use. And as you bring your awareness back to the room, the mantra again, the power and presence of God is mine to use. And so right here and right now, this beautiful, glorious day, I say thank you. Thank you, Father, Mother God. I know that there is only the one life, a life of joy, a life of peace, a life of prosperity and health, a life that holds the miracles of all things. And this life is the life of God. And I know that there is only one mind, all-knowing, all-encompassing mind, the creator of all things. And this mind is the mind of God, and I am living the life of God and using the mind of God and fully empowered with the power of God right here and right now. And I declare this day is a day of love. It's a day of miracles. It's a day of understanding. It's a day of beauty. This day and the message that comes today is a message to fill the heart, to fill the mind, and to take away and know that God is with us with me each and every step of the way. And I know, and I listen. Knowing that God is the very presence that's living and breathing in, as, and through me. And I say thank you, God. Thank you for this day. Thank you for love, for joy, for peace, prosperity, health. I say thank you for Rev.Frances and CSL Tacoma. Thank you for the practitioners. Thank you for the musicians. Thank you for each person that is right here that can hear the sound of my voice. I say thank you for this and so much more. And so now I release my word into the full activity of love and law, knowing that what I've declared is already done, knowing that my word will not return to me void. I anchor this by saying, and so it is.
Look to the stars in search of the answers. Look for God and life on distant planets. Have your faith in the ever after, while each of us holds inside the map to the labyrinth. Heaven's here on earth. We are the spirit, the collective conscience. We create the pain and the suffering and the beauty in this world. Heaven's here on earth. In our faith in humankind, in our respect for what is earthly, in our unfaltering belief in peace and love and understanding. I've seen in my angels wearing the disguise of ordinary people leading ordinary lives filled with love, compassion, forgiveness, and sacrifice. Heaven's in our hearts, in our faith in humankind, in our respect for what is earthly, in our unfaltering belief in peace and love and understanding. Look around, believe in what you see. The kingdom is at hand, the promised land is at your feet. We can and will become what we aspire to be. If heaven's in our hearts, if we have faith in humankind and respect for what is earthly and an unfaltering belief that truth is divinity. This could be heaven here on earth. I've seen spirits, I've met angels, I've touched creations, beautiful and wondrous. I've been places where I question all I think I know, but I believe this could be heaven. Born inside the gates with the power to give life and to take it away. The world is our temple, the world is our church. If heaven's here on earth, if we have faith in humankind and respect for what is earthly, and an unfaltering belief in peace and love and understanding, this could be heaven here on earth.
Good morning. I have two readings for you. The first is from Reverend Christian Sorensen. He's the spiritual leader of Seaside in Encinitas, California. He's actually one of my mentors in addition to this amazing Rev.Frances right here. So he sends out daily inspirations. So I found this one moving this morning, and I'm going to read it to you. August 7th. Divine love raises the vibration. When we let the love that is within us go out to the God who is in all people and the divine presence that is in all things, then we are loving God with all our heart and with all our soul and mind, because we are recognizing that the spirit within us is the same spirit that we meet in others. This is loving our neighbors as ourselves. And that section is written by Ernest Holmes. And then the next section is, being love is the most powerful way to change your vibrational rate. Love is the highest frequency there is, and when you bring it into your heart or into any situation, you immediately begin to raise the consciousness around whatever is going on. Imagine that you are the conduit for love of the divine to be shared in the world. Are you acting as if that is true? Is there any place or situation or with any person where the conduit seems blocked or closed? Practice being the love in your mind in that situation with that person. Now, you are an intentional conduit of divine love, and you are raising the vibration around whatever you focus on. Spiritual contemplation. Are you being love when it comes to your finances and money, at work or on the job, paying your bills, making your tithe, with everything having to do with your abundance? And then the affirmation that he adds at the end is, I bring love, I am love, as I engage with everything having to do with my abundance and prosperity. The next piece I have for you is out of this book called Eco-Psychology. It was actually written in the last century but it's very fitting for what we're dealing with today in terms of environmental stewardship and the challenges we're facing. And Jane Goodall has something on the front of this book. It's also, the subtitle is Restoring the Earth, Healing the Mind. The old concept of power in which most of us have been socialized originated in a particular worldview. This view saw reality as composed of discrete and separate entities: rocks, plants, atoms, people. Power came to be seen as a property of these separate entities, reflected in the way they could appear to push each other around. Power became identified with domination. Look it up in the dictionary. More often than not, it is still defined as exerting your will upon other people. Power means power over. In such a view, power is a zero-sum game. The more you have, the less I have. Or if you win, I lose. It fosters the notion, furthermore, that power involves invulnerability. To be strong, to keep us from being pushed around, defenses, armor, and rigidity are needed in order not to be the one self to be influenced or changed. From the system's perspective, this particular notion, or patriarchal notion, of power is both inaccurate and dysfunctional. This is because life processes are intrinsically and self-organizing. Power, then, which is the ability to effect change, works from the bottom up, more reliably and organically from the top down. Did you get that? That's interesting. It is not power over, but power with. This is what systems scientists call synergy. Life systems evolve flexibility and intelligence not by choosing, or not by closing off from the environment and erecting walls of defense, but by opening ever wider to the currents of matter, energy, and information. It is in this interaction that life systems grow, integrating and differentiating. Here, power, far from being identified with invulnerability, requires just the opposite: openness, vulnerability, and readiness to change. This indeed is the direction of evolution. As life forms evolve in intelligence, they shed their armor and reach outward to an ever wider interplay with the environment. They grow sensitive, vulnerable. Ears, noses, eyeballs, lips, tongues, and fingers. The better to feel and respond, the better to connect in the web and weave it further. I'm almost finished. We may well wonder why the old kind of power as we see it, enacted around us, and indeed above us, seems so effective. Many who wield it seem to get what they want: money, fame, control over others' lives. But they achieve this at a substantial cost, both to themselves and the larger system. Domination requires strong defenses, and like a suit of armor, restricts our vision and movement. Reducing flexibility and responsiveness, it cuts us off from the fuller and freer participation in life. Power over is dysfunctional to the larger system because it inhibits diversity and feedback. It obstructs systematic self-organization, fostering uniformity and entropy. So in all of this, I want to invite you to start to let go of this idea that somehow we have dominion over nature and over our environment, and begin to reconnect with the truth that we aren't separate from anything. We are intrinsically connected. That is the way forward, because this idea of dominion has caused us a lot of grief, hasn't it? So are we willing to step forward into the recognition and to really allow it to resonate that we need to open to nature rather than close off? Our souls know this. They know how to do it. We just need to allow it. So I invite that for you this week. Thank you.
I know when we were practicing this one, there were people walking through the room singing it with me. So, if you know parts of it, or all of it, they paved paradise and put up a parking lot with a pink hotel, a boutique, and a swinging hot spot. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Oh la la, oh la la. They took all the trees and put them in a tree museum. And then they charged the people $1.50 to see them. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Oh, hey, farmer, put down the DDT now. I don't care about spots on apples, please give me birds and bees now. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Late last night I heard the screen door slam. A big yellow taxi took away my old man. Don't it always seem to go that you don't know what you've got till it's gone? They paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Oh, they paved paradise and put up a parking lot. Yeah. Oh, they paved paradise and put up a parking lot.
Amazing. You don't know what you've lost until it's gone. Well, we're doing nature, and today's talk is called Earth Force Report for Duty. So I used to study Latin American literature when I was married to a Latin American, and one of the novels we studied was a book called Doña Barbara, which means Mrs. Barbaric or whatever. Anyway, she was a dictator figure on a Venezuelan hacienda. And she symbolized what Matthew was talking about, the domination of humans over nature, over Mother Nature, and the whole goal of overtaking and dominating nature, and not really being in harmony with it, but destroying it. And it was based, or that kind of thinking came out of Auguste Comte's ideas of positivism. And fortunately, we're moving away from that. But I think that philosophy had a profound influence over a century of time on the thinking of humanity about taking control over everything, especially Mother Earth. So one of the beliefs we have, we believe that heaven is within us and that we experience it to the degree that we become conscious of it. And Henry David Thoreau said, heaven is under our feet as well as over our hands. So we're going to be talking about this idea of nature, and that rather than dwelling on climate change and the earth being out of balance, I thought I would take an affirmative angle and talk about balance as a spiritual practice, as well as alignment and harmony this morning. And I assume that we're the microcosm and the earth is the macrocosm, and that the earth is the perfect archetype of balance. And since everything comes from within, we can learn to take care of the earth by taking care of ourselves. And so we'll begin there and then apply balance to our lives, to balance in nature. So what's balance anyway? It's a state of equilibrium, or equipoise, equal distribution of weight, or counterpoise, mental steadiness and emotional stability. So how many of you here this morning consider yourselves to be unbalanced? Not mentally, of course. I'm talking about feeling that your life is a little out of balance and you're spending too much time, money, and energy on some things and not enough on others. I'm talking about feeling like you spend your days lurching uncontrollably from one critical need to the next, always reacting to what seems to be urgent instead of what's important. And I'm talking about trying to allocate your very limited resources of time and money and energy among an endless succession of demands, and always running short, always feeling a little exhausted, a little broke, feeling guilty that you aren't doing more. Ever feel like that? So it's rare these days to find someone who feels that their life is in perfect balance, who feels that that with work, family, spiritual practice, daily chores, personal needs, a life that doesn't have you constantly trying to cram one more activity into an already overloaded day. So the life we're familiar with, in which every aspect of our existence demands more from us than we have to give. But what we want is simply a life in balance. And what we want is to be able to do the things that are really important without always feeling rushed and overwhelmed. So one thing, I think of the phrase, seek first the kingdom of God and all things will be added to you. We just discussed the summer movie Avatar in our summer movie series, and it depicted a world where everything was in balance until the Earth people got there, where the Ewe, or the goddess of this particular planet, responded to all equally. She was a little like universal law, keeping balance with all things. So the goal is really serving God, not just finding balance, because balance implies that we examine all aspects of our life and allocate our resources and somehow put God in the mix. Whoops, what happened? Oh, thank you. Let there be light. So there's my career, there's my marriage, there's my relationship with my kids, and then there's God. So Spirit has to be our priority. So the question isn't how we balance work and family and God. The goal is to bring every area of our life into harmony with God's will and listen to guidance, and then everything will take care of itself. So again, that phrase from Matthew, the kingdom, not this Matthew, but the one in the Bible. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. So what's balance? Life is always really in balance and alignment with itself. But the first principle of life is that it cannot be against itself, because it would destroy itself and die. And there's many forms that we can look at on planet Earth and see how interdependent they are. There's small organisms in water and air and bacteria in our bodies that we're dependent upon. Plants and trees provide oxygen and food. Animals and humans use the oxygen to survive while creating carbon dioxide and waste products that fertilize and feed other life forms. But on the spiritual path, we seek to be open to the higher while active towards the more external in a harmonious, wise, loving, and productive way. Balance is essential among these modes because they characterize our spiritual practices. So when we look at balance, it operates among 4 vehicles of our body: body, heart, mind, and spirit. So this brings us to our second point, which is alignment. Life is always expanding and growing and evolving, and the concept of evolution is not just applicable to humans, but to all of life. And the theory of evolution is based on the idea that all species are related and gradually change over time. And like everywhere, it's constantly reacting to changing environments. Most animals and humans can physically move to more favorable environments, but might choose to stay and adapt to familiar surroundings. So we examined the 4 dimensions of alignment in spiritual practice. And though we've got this handed down from ancient times, they were powerfully expressed by Gurdjieff in the 20th century. An understanding of these dimensions helps us guide our steps in the unknown territory of spirit. So the first dimension of or alignment concerns the 3 contexts of practice: ourselves, our family, society, and the ultimate. And so if we direct our spiritual life only towards ourselves, we risk growing self-absorbed and losing sight of a higher purpose. If our practice solely is about serving others, then we risk losing ourselves and losing the energy and peace of mind we need to serve well. And if our practice focuses exclusively on the divine, we risk losing our footing on this wonderful earth and losing our ability to relate as well. So all of these things come together and forge a remarkably potent combination. In our spiritual thought, we lose contact if we lose contact with one, another will provide a way to reinvigorate things. So in alignment, when we think of spiritual practice, we think usually of some formal practice, like a mantra, like Mona did, or a meditation, or a ritual, or communal prayer, or chanting, and the like. But there are different genres of spiritual practices that can be equally effective. In Shinrin-yoku, there's this whole thing called forest bathing, for example, where you just go into a forest and become bathed in the spiritual energy of the forest. We did a retreat here once in which I had a medical doctor who was studying to be a minister, and I asked him to do this practice of, in this particular retreat center, they had a cathedral of trees. And I'm not sure, was that Seaback? I can't remember which retreat center. But they had this cathedral of trees, and so the assignment and the person who was leading the exercise had to get people involved with the trees. And so his wife, who was a nurse and very into scientific practice, came to me and she said, "This is a ridiculous exercise." She said, "If my husband were not leading it, I would not even attend." So anyway, so he led the exercise, and the exercise was for everybody to find a tree and just sit and be in alignment with it, commune with the tree. And you know what happened to this woman? Her father came through the tree and gave her a direct message, and she knew it was her father, and she just flipped. She had become aligned with Mother Nature. So the third principle is harmony. Harmony. How do you define life? And what about the animals and the plants and insects and microorganisms everywhere? Do you think of the rivers and the lakes and the oceans? And how about the air and the earth? And the earth body philosophy is really based on the ancient Greek principles of macrocosm and microcosm. And this schema recognizes the pattern or the repetition of patterns in the cosmos from the largest macrocosm to the smallest microcosm, to the universal level, to the subatomic level. And humans are seen as the sentient medium between these two worlds, in the best of all possible worlds. That's what they're seen as. So humans are thus both microcosm and macrocosm. We're a cell of the Earth's body, and we're a planet within a galaxy and a universe containing many Earths within. So the human body can be seen as a reflection of the Earth's body. Each person is a miniature planet Earth. Every person embodies all aspects of our living Earth. Every continent, country, ocean, river, sea, cell, bird, animal, tree, mineral, atmosphere, all other aspects of this magnificent creation that we live in. So what we do to the earth, we do to ourselves. And I call that sustainability, really. What we do to the earth, we do to ourselves. I guess about a year ago, I got this phone call because we had scheduled all these sustainable workshops. And this person said, "You are too political." And she withdrew $400 a month from our tithing program. Anyway, that just really, I can't understand that, why people wouldn't be interested in sustaining the place where we live. It's hard for me to imagine. So I guess I am political. So harmony is the third point I wanted to make, and that I call this section Giving Up Bananas. So here I am with this big question. What is my relationship with the creatures of the earth and to the earth itself? Are they, or is it here for me, or am I part of it? How far does this interdependent web extend? And do I really believe that all of us are intimately connected to the universe? It's been said that one of the functions of ministry is to comfort the afflicted and afflict the comfortable. So I want to be upfront with you. My goal in sharing this story with you is to raise questions that will haunt you when you walk the aisles of Safeway, Fred Meyer, and even Trader Joe's. So be haunted as you unload your groceries from those bags that seem to reproduce like rabbits in your pantry. So for breakfast, I had a bowl of fruit: bananas, apples, oranges, grapes, even an avocado. Good for you, and good for you. So let's see. The bananas were from Ecuador. The apple was grown in Washington State. The grapes came from California. The avocado came from Chile. And those peaches that we had were from Texas. There was an orange that came all the way from South Africa. And so I could say that bowl of fruit traveled a distance of more than 18,000 miles to be at my breakfast table today. Definitely my most far-flung house guests. I actually have a house guest from San Diego staying with us, my son's best friend, and they're touring golf frisbee areas right now. So it's no news to tell you that bananas aren't grown in the backyards of Tacoma or on the farms in Pierce County. Americans consume about 400 gallons of oil a year per person for the food they eat. There's an author and scientist, Stephen Hopp, who writes sarcastically that a quick way to improve fuel economy would be to buy a quart of motor oil and drink it. Please don't go out and do that. He then goes on to point out that if every American family were to eat just one meal each week that was composed of locally and organically raised foods, we would reduce our country's oil consumption by over 1.1 million barrels every week. Becoming a less energy-dependent nation may just need to start with a good breakfast. So the whole idea behind the concept of ethical eating is that we think about the food we're putting in our mouths. And by this, I don't mean the nutritional value, but whether it's going straight from our lips to our hips. Ethical eating is wedded to awareness and intention, and it's about educating ourselves about the true cost of food we buy and consume. So an average yield of an acre of farmland from 24 bushels of corn in 1930 has more than 160 bushels per acre today. And so to achieve an astonishing improvement, we apply about 1.5 billion pounds of nitrogen to the soil in the form of fertilizers, and half that nitrogen is taken up into the atmosphere and falls as acid rain or stays there as greenhouse gases that wash into our watersheds, causing massive algae blooms that choke off aquatic life. So this month we proclaim to affirm and support respect for nature and harmony with the interdependent web of life of which we're a part. What does that mean to us, and how far does it extend? And what does it require of us? Al Gore had a whole thing a few years back on reducing carbon consumption. And it caused me to take 5-minute showers so that we wouldn't waste so much water. So it's important to build a world that's both just and sustainable, and we're called to be good stewards. So that's about the choices we make in food as well as everything else, because we do desire that the earth be in balance. And so I think about, should I be eating these bananas? Of course, I love bananas. Sometimes you have to cross those ethical boundaries just to satisfy your human taste. So in some sense, we're all microcosms of the universe, and so what humans are is the clue to the universe. That's what David Bohm, the wonderful quantum physicist, said. So what can we do to cultivate the relationship we have in nature? First and foremost is our spiritual practice. And then take time to notice the air outside. My husband went outside this morning. He said, "Do you smell anything?" And I went out there, and it smelled like rubber burning. You know, somebody was contaminating the air. It was far away, but it was contaminating all of the air that we're breathing. So it's important to see, to notice what's going on around you. Take a deep breath. Notice the scents in the air, and be curious about what affects the air. Consider what you may be doing to impact the air quality. Do you have trees and plants around your house or your neighborhood? And what changes could you do to improve the quality of life around you? I love it that we never use insecticide in our garden. And so the bees and butterflies just find a little haven in our backyard. So, I mean, I consider that part of the work I'm doing. It's very tiny, and it doesn't have to be big, what you do. So remember that everything is God and all is life, and what we do for our planet and for life, what we do to that, we do for ourselves, both good and bad. So let's do what's good. Healing and whatever is good and healing and wholesome for ourselves, the planet Earth, and all of life. and ultimately our human family. So let's affirm together, I am one with all of life on planet Earth. Let's say it one more time. I am one with all of life on planet Earth. And oh, and so it is. All right, thank you.
If you hear this message, wherever you stand, I'm calling every woman, I'm calling every man. We're the generation, we can't afford to wait. The future started yesterday, and we're already late. We've been looking for a song to sing. We search for a melody. We search for someone to lead. We've been looking for the world to change. If you feel the same, then go on and say, if you're out there, sing along with me. If you're out there, I'm dying to believe that you're out there. Stand up and say it loud. If you're out there, tomorrow starting now. No more broken promises, no more calls to war, unless it's love and peace that we're really fighting for. We can destroy hunger, we can conquer hate. Put down the arms and raise your voice, we're joining hands today. I was looking for a song to sing, I searched for a leader, but the leader was me. We've been looking for the world to change. If you feel the same, then go on and say, if you're out there, sing along with me. If you're out there, I'm dying to believe that you're out there. Stand up and say it loud. If you're out there, tomorrow starting now. Now, now, now. generation. We can't afford to wait. The future started yesterday, and we're already late.
So it's time for our offertory, and we have an offertory sung by Bienvenido, but we'll call the ushers forward and say the blessing that we have in the program together. Divine love, through me, blesses and multiplies all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. Thank you, God, and so it is.
Thank you. The circle of life. It's always a wonderful thing to do the healing prayer after listening to the music. It just kind of sets the tone. So right here and right now, I know that God is one and I am one with God. And as I know this truth for myself, I know this truth for every person that is within the sound of my voice. Right here and right now, I know a healing has taken place. An opening of the heart, an opening of the soul. To realize the alignment between myself and Mother Earth. So I'm knowing right here and right now that as I move and have my way in this life, that appreciation, understanding of all people, nature, and this world. And I say thank you, God. Thank you for this healing presence. Thank you for this healing message. Thank you for the understanding and opening up the mind and the heart and the soul. Thank you for Rev.Frances' message and the musicians today. I say thank you for all of this and so much more. And so now I release my word into the full activity of love and law, knowing that what I've declared is already done, knowing that my word will not return to me void. And I anchor this by saying, and so it is.
Announcements. I want to call Lucas Smeraldo up to tell us about his event, or our event that we're having next Sunday at 1 o'clock after the service, which, it's today after the service. After the 11 o'clock service, we're going to have a potluck, and then at 1 o'clock, if you can come back, if you're in town, can come back for this incredible experience.
Good morning, lovely people. Nice to see you all. Thank you for the music and just a wonderful space here. As Frances was sharing, I spent 6 years working on a book that intersects social justice with meditation and spirituality through yoga called 365 Revolutions. And the very good news is that Bill Berry is going to be joining us. He is an emerging upright bass player, and we're going to do both a cappella readings of some of these pieces, as well as Bill and I will collaborate. So if you just want to have fun and a little something different and some music, come by at 1. There's no obligation to anything. If you want to purchase a book, that's great. If you just want to be in community and listen, that's great too. I want to show you something before I share it. This is, each one of these poems is based on a yoga pose, and this is Warrior One. My wife would probably roll her eyes when she saw that particular, because she's a yoga teacher, but that's what I got for you this morning. And this is about standing in your space. And what drew me to this church was that you can continue to bring your own independent thinking into this space. You don't have to accede to a thought system while continuing to absorb the wisdom here. So this is in deference to our own internal wisdom as we draw from the religious practices and theologies that really resonate for us. This religion of mine has no book, in rises like a story, still telling, favors the tongue of spine, narrates down the calcium highway of limb and bone, disdains the lag of time, and forms a new, untested earth. I stand in this fragile ecology against your certain God, and what I know is that the same God does not side with you, bends towards our common lung, and I am curious. If there is a sin, it is in your crush for cancellations hurled at the pace of falling stars, neither wish nor wonder to these ends. Yet in faith, my arms aloft, I say, this world begins. Thank you.
Wow, well, I want to ask Mona to tell you about her class. I just saw on my bookshelf, Teresa of Avila's The Castle, which is what this course is sort of based. Carolyn Mays based it on Teresa of Avila. It's really phenomenal class. You've got to sign up. You just simply do.
So this Wednesday night, I'll start teaching a class. It's called Practical Mysticism. And a lot of the practice is doing meditation, going within yourself, going in and seeing what's making you operate. What is it that is lingering there that you want to release? And what is it that you can fill it in with? Love, peace. So it's just an opportunity. It's a mystical opportunity, but it's all about you. It's not about anyone else. It's all about you. Thank you.
Great. So you can register online or just tell Mona that you plan to sign up and show up here. It's an in-person class. We're so glad to be offering in-person classes. Aren't you tired of Zoom? Yes, Judy.
May I share something I thought might be of interest?
Yes.
On Saturday, the 20th, at First Lutheran Church, I think it's right around the corner here, two musicians are having a concert to benefit Tacoma's Emergency Food Network. And these musicians are Grammy-nominated pianist Dwayne Holbert. I've seen him play. He's amazing. And his friend soprano Elizabeth Procurno. And it's at 2 o'clock on the 20th. The admission is by donation. And it's a recital of Songs in the Key of Me, a musical travelogue of the USA, South America, and Europe.
So that's a Saturday night, or Saturday afternoon.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. If you want to know more about that, talk to Judy. I'm going to bring Justin up to talk about our film series. Oh, I am? Yes, you are. Justin did a magnificent job of moderating our discussion this last Friday night. And you've got an activity to do during the week and then come here Friday night.
All right. So thank you very much. I didn't absolutely to see you all here. So I know many of you came to the series that we had for Avatar, where we got together, we watched the movie, and then we met here to do the discussion. So the next movie that will happen is Hamilton. So watch Hamilton on your own, and then this Friday coming up at 6 o'clock here at the center downstairs, we will have refreshments and the discussion that's being led by the Centers for Spiritual Living National, and we raised $191 this last week for the camp in Oregon for the youth. Thank you.
Well, thank you. Good job. All right. So let me see if there's anything else I want to talk about. Town hall meeting is coming up on August 21st. That's a Sunday. We're asking all our members to please mark your calendars and attend. It's a meeting with Julie Lobato, who's head of ministerial services. She's going to be talking about the possibility of hiring an interim minister to replace me when I leave October 30th. And it needs a vote of the membership. So all members, we're calling all members to be here at 12:15. It will start, it'll be on the screen, and there will be a vote taken after the meeting. And the board really wants you to be here and vote. Thank you. August 21st. That's 2 weeks from now. Next Sunday, it says that Peter Kirkland is going to be here. He's not going to be here till the 30th of October. So Steve and Christy Nebel will be here playing a lot of their wonderful environmentally based songs, because Steve is a songwriter. So they'll be here next week. And then Stefan will be here for the furry, the fuzzy, the slimy, the scaly, and everyone else. So I think that's everything. I do believe we'll talk. Oh, love is a beacon. I want to say something about that. So we have a very gifted spiritual instructor here in the church, Darlene Green. She's the author of 3 wonderful books on love. And so this is part 2 of her series called Frequency and Expanded Conscious Awareness. It's going to be Saturday, August 20th, from 9 to 12:30 in the afternoon. Then you can go over to wherever it is for the concert Judy's talking about. So I really got a lot out of this experience. She really teaches you how to get to this level of consciousness. So you can sign up online. She's charging $45, and it comes with this really detailed workbook plus a support session afterwards. So you get a lot for your investment in that class. In September, Jim Valley's doing a concert. And anyway, lots of things coming up. Thank you very much for supporting our events here at the center. At this time, we're going to close out with Blue Skies, which we've got today. Ooh, I went over. Whoa.
Blue skies smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing along, nothing but blue skies all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never saw things going so right. Blues in the days hurrying by, my how they fly. Whoa, when the blue dies, all of them gone. Nothing but blue skies all day long. At me, nothing but blue skies do I see. Bluebirds singing a song, nothing but blue skies all day long. Never saw the sun shining so bright, never touched the, oh my goodness. My, how they fly, bluebird, smiling at me, nothing but blue skies do I see.
Well, we'll see you next week, and grab a cup of coffee before you take off today. Thank you for being here.